Hello, today we are going to make a rose necklace, and for that I have 20 gauge round silver plated wire, and this is cut at 15 inches. I have 26 gauge copper wire that I have cut at 75 inches. I have a piece of 22 gauge wire, and I think this is about 5 inches or so. I have a bead cone, and I think I picked this up at some little mom and pop jewelry supply store on my travels somewhere, but you can get these at any craft store. I have some jump rings, and I'm using the chain and the clasp that I got from Wish. Now I have 9 pieces of the chain cut at 1.5 inches or thereabout, and then I have the chain for the necklace, and that is right around 16.5 inches. You cut it the size for the length of necklace that you like. I have an 8mm round rondelle crystal, and we need something to wrap our wire around. I'm just going to use this paint bottle. You can use anything. I have a couple of chain nose pliers. I'm not sure if we're going to need the nylon or not, but we have them if we need them. Wire cutter and round nose pliers. And I think that's it. Okay, to begin, I'm going to find kind of the center of my 20 gauge wire. And I'm just going to wrap it around this paint bottle. And then remove it. Now, I think that's a little bit bigger than what I'm going to need, so I'm just going to pull it in some. Like that. I apologize for that loud noise. The AC unit downstairs came on. It's really hot in here, so maybe it'll encourage me to speak louder. Okay, so I have my 26 gauge wire folded in half, and I'm just going to work it through the center of this little ring that we made. Make sure the ring is the way we want it before we actually start wrapping. And now let's just wrap it around and through this ring. And again, around and through. And that's enough, really. So now what we're going to do is we're going to start wrapping on just this single wire all by itself, and wrap all the way to the end, and then I'll come back. Okay, I finished wrapping this side, and I fell short of the end of my wire. Let's hope it all works out okay. I've never made this before, this necklace. The only place it's ever lived is in my mind, so, and then again, watch this side be too much wire. So anyway, now that we have that wrapped, let's go ahead and wrap around our middle again. Okay, and let's begin to wrap around this one single wire just like we did on the other side. Okay, it wasn't too much wire, but I made it further than I did on the other side. Now, I really want a base to make this rose, and the one that I started with, I made it smaller so it doesn't fit anymore. So I'm going to put it around the cap of this bottle and hope that that will help me hold on to this wire while I make this rose. Now at this point, we just make the rose like we would any other time. Okay, so now I'm just going to twist them together. Take it off of here. twist these together. Twist these as tightly or loosely as you want. They're going to open somewhat as we make the rose. Okay. Now let's see what happens here. Okay. Now let's just roll it around itself. And I'm not going to be able to do it like that. Okay, I'm going to have to hold on to it. So let's roll it around itself and form this rose. Now you make this rose the size you want. I have a fairly big bead cone, so I want a fairly big rose. I'm struggling. I'm used to having it stay on top of something on its mold or whatever while I do this part, but we'll get through this. Don't worry about what that ring underneath is doing. So here's our rose. Okay, I was struggling with the shape of my rose, so I found an object that I could fit this over, and then I just tweaked it with my round nose pliers to make it tighter on that object so that I could make a better shaped rose. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and cut this ring that we made to begin with and move these wires out of my way. Now here is the section of our rose that is not covered, and I'm going to trim this down a bit. Okay, and now I'm just going to coil these to the back of my rose. And just tuck them in, and then repeat that for the other wire. Now for these sections, I'm just going to trim these a little bit. And I'm not going to make wrap loops, and I'm not going to make a simple loop. I'm going to make like a coiled loop back here. So I'm just going to begin by coiling this loop, and I'm going to try to keep it on top of the wire. I'm not really sure it matters, but that's what I'm going to try to do here. And I'm going to stop right about here until I find out exactly what I need, where I need the placement of that wire. So let's go ahead and do that on the other side. Not sure if that's really the type of loop you're supposed to make in jewelry making, but we're going to do it. And I'm just going to leave it like that, and let's set this aside. Now with the 22 gauge wire, I'm going to begin a wrapped loop, working down closer to the bottom of my round nose to give me a rather large loop. So we have a really large loop here. Might be a little bit too large, but we'll adjust if we need to. So let's open this up. And let's place on all of our little pieces of chain. So go ahead and place all your pieces of chain onto this wire. So I have all my chains on my loop now, and this loop is a tiny bit bigger than I need it, so I'm just going to tighten that up a bit and straighten everything out a tiny bit. So let's go ahead and complete this wrapped loop. So hold on to it and wrap it. Why am I using those? Okay, let's wrap this around and complete our wrapped loop. Now, you wrap this as many times as you want. I think that's enough for me. So I'm going to go ahead and trim this wire. Okay. Now I'm going to bend this wire up like that, and then bend it completely over so that it is going completely over our loop here. And now I'm going to bring it back up again. So this is, we have this weird looking thing here. So I'm going to squeeze this a bit, make it a tad bit more compact. There we go. So this is what we're working with right now. Now place this into your bead cone, and we have the little tassel of chain. Now you could use whatever you want for your tassel. Maybe you could use number 10 crochet thread, leather, whatever you want. And now let's place on our rondelle and go ahead and make a wrapped loop here, or begin one anyway. Just like this. And now let's decide where. I guess I will go on this loop here, and we will connect it after we open it. Can't quite get that through there. And let's go ahead and place this in and see if we need to adjust our loop. Sorry about that abrupt ending. Once again, my camera shut off. But anyway, what we need to do now is finish this wrapped loop here. So gotta hold on to it best we can and go ahead and complete our wrap. Not too difficult since we used a 22 gauge wire. So let's go ahead and cut that. And we are almost done. Now, if you've made this large and this loop large enough to fit your chain through, the necklace part of your chain, you can just go ahead and feed it through. You could also use a jump ring here if you want. If you didn't make it large enough, you can open it up and make that into a larger loop. And then we'll put our chain through, and then we'll adjust our loop to match what we have going on here. Okay, so I have, please excuse the dog, I don't know why it's barking. Okay, so I have my chain in there, and I'm going to rewrap, but I want my chain to be able to slide around, so I don't want to make this tight. There we go. Now we just need to decide what else we want to do with this loop. If we want to take it down further into the rose, we can. Okay. We just want to put our jump rings and our clasp onto our chain, and then the actual necklace will be done, but we're going to make some adjustments before we completely finish up here. So let's just get our clasp on. And I don't know what my obsession is with this nylon plier today, but I'm using it for some reason. That's okay. Let's go ahead and close this up. And our necklace is done. Now, adjustments that you may want to make. You may want to curl these little loops further down into your rose if things aren't sitting the way you want them to. You can also adjust what direction they're facing if you need to. Now, with our tassel, if you have some that seem like they got shorter, then because of the way that we made them, you can gently pull, and I mean gently, and get all of these little chains to be the exact same length if that's what you want. I'm okay with them not being exactly the same. I kind of like it that way, but I might be in the minority there. So you just do it the way that you like. And there we go. Here is our little wrapped rose necklace with chain tassel. And of course I will take some pictures for you. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you so much for watching.